Hey folks, it's Matt once again. Welcome back to another review for the Stallone Marathon. This time it is Oscar. Now, this is when Stallone was trying to dabble his hand in comedy again after Rhinestone, which did not help. And this one did not do well. A lot of people hated it, I guess, except Siskel and Ebert, which gave it 2 thumbs up, which I'm shocked. But I enjoy this film. I've always enjoyed this film. I think it's a very underrated comedy, and I think it's I would say Stallone's best comedy. Because I don't hate Step My Mom Will Shoot like everyone else does. I think it's alright. I think it's a harmless time waster. Rhinestone, I could not get behind that. There's a few moments that made me smirk, and I don't think it's one of the worst comedies ever, or one of the worst movies ever. But Rhinestone, I just couldn't. I just couldn't. This, I sincerely think it's a good movie and a good comedy. It's a take on those 1930s farce comedies with that high energy of misunderstandings and coincidences. And something that not a lot of people know about me is that comedies I grew up with were not just Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy and Robin Williams and John Candy, which I love those guys. I also grew up with the Three Stooges. Love the Three Stooges. That's why I was so pissed when they did that movie with the Farrelly brothers, because I think personally that was an insult to those guys. But those Three Stooges with Curly and Shemp and even Curly Joe Dorita. Joe Besser was lame, but I love those guys. I love Abbott and Costello. I love Red Skelton. In fact, most people watching this probably don't even know who the hell Red Skelton is. But I loved him, whether it be Freddy the Freeloader or Clem Hopper or many of his other characters. I don't mind Lauren Hardy. So a lot of those 30s and 40s type of comedies, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein and Meet the Invisible Man, and I enjoyed a lot of those movies. And this is sort of in that tone of those 1930s type of farce comedies. It's rated PG and it works fine. Anyone in the family can watch this. I thought the cast did a fantastic job. You got, what was it, Peter Rydert? You have Chazz Palminteri, Don Amici. Kirk Douglas has an appearance at the beginning of the film. I know him and Stallone were going to do First Blood, and Kirk Douglas was going to do True, not Truman, Troutman, Colonel Troutman, but Kirk Douglas felt Rambo should die at the end, and Stallone disagreed. So Kirk Douglas didn't do the role of Troutman, but they got together for the beginning of this film. He plays Stallone's father, who, before he passes away, wants Stallone to promise him to get out of the gangster business and go straight, be an upstanding citizen. And Stallone ultimately says yes, and this is pretty much all. Most of this film takes place all in one day, where he's trying to meet with these bankers. One of them is William Atherton, Dickless from the first Ghostbusters, along with some others, and just all the misunderstandings and coincidences, all the craziness and hijinks that happens within one day, as Stallone plays Snaps Provolone. It takes place in Chicago in the 30s. And you have Marisa Tomei, you have Kurtwood Smith, who worked with Stallone in Rambo 3, you have Tim Curry, and I thought the entire cast did a great job. I thought the score worked for the film very well, fitted like a glove. And it's directed by John Landis. And I think John Landis did a great job with this. I think this is, honestly, I think he did this right after Coming to America, and I'm trying to think what John Landis did after this. This might be the last good John Landis film, because you have Beverly Hills Cop 3, which was really shitty. You have The Stupids, which the title fits, is really fucking lame and stupid. I know my friend Mike saw this one Susan's Plan. He loved that movie. If he watches this, he'll comment how much he loves that movie. I think this is a funny, underrated as hell flick. I don't understand the hate for this. People say Stallone can't do comedy. I think he worked perfectly as a gangster in the 30s in this flick. And has that energy of there's always something going on. This thing with his bag, it gets flipped-flopped over versus Jules, it is money, and then it's someone's underwear. It's just... Again, even from the beginning where he's trying to promise his dad, Kirk Douglas, he's like, come on closer, slapping him. Okay, Dad, I want you to... I'll promise you to die peacefully. And then Kirk Douglas, you want me to die peacefully? Yes. So now you want me to die? No, no, no. Slaps him again. I want to become an honest man. Okay, Papa. Big slap. That's so you don't forget. And Stallone does his look to the camera. And then I always forget, you have this sort of fun little claymation beginning where it's a little big mustache claymation figure singing this opera. Which I'm going to do, not going to do anymore because I do a shitty job. But I really like that. I like that. It was charming. And that's what I find with his comedies. I think it's a charming comedy that doesn't get talked about. It does really snappy work with its dialogue. And the casts are all game for it. And I thought they did a good job capturing that 1930s feel and energy to those films, those comedies back in the day. And you have Kurtwood Smith and folks like Art LaFleur from The Blob, 1988, and Trancers. They're cops. They're sort of watching over Provolone's place, wondering if something's going to happen. His men, Chazz Palminteri, Peter Ryder, they keep calling him boss. It's like, stop calling me boss. You ain't respectable. We're going to be bankers today. This accountant comes in, asks for a raise, says he loves Sly's daughter. Sly gets pissed about that. Chazz Palminteri pulls out his gun and Stallone goes, you still packing? Fork it over. Fork? We're not in that business anymore. We're bankers. They said, well, how did you get all this money? I stole it from you. He stole it from you, boss? Let me kill him. Give me that gat. You're a butler now, so rebuttal. And there's a moment where Chazz Palminteri laughs, and then Stallone's, zip it. And being a big fan of Sly, love the guy. It was great to see him in this kind of role. I could tell he was having a lot of fun with this. I love how he delivers the dialogue a lot of times, just from his delivery. It made me chuckle. It made me laugh. It was nice to see Sly. It was a chance for him to do something different, and I think he worked perfectly fine. In fact, of the comedies he did, Stopping My Mom Will Shoot, Rhinestone, and this is easily the best comedy. Because Sly can do humor. I mean, even in films a la Demolition Man, Sly's pretty funny on purpose, delivering some of those reactions. And you have one daughter, played by Marisa Tomei, who's sort of the whiny little daughter brat. You have these two guys, the Finucci brothers. That's a fun, really fun characters in the flick. One of them is Harry Shearer, who would voice Moe and other characters on The Simpsons. The other is, I forget the guy's name, but he's the lawyer in Jurassic Park who gets eaten up by the T-Rex. He's the other Finucci brother. And they're really have a good chemistry with each other. That's my speech. No, that's not my speech. That's not your speech. It's my speech. And I'm doing a shitty job with it because it's hard to review comedies. That's why I rarely review comedies. It's hard to invoke what makes one laugh. And I'm not a comedian. I'm not trained in it at all. by far. So it's hard to mimic what I enjoy on the screen. This is why if YouTube, when I had a bunch of dickheads, I would just use clips, and it would make things a lot easier. So try and do the best that I can. And just because I find it funny doesn't mean you will, and vice versa. But they're there to create suits for snaps, for Stallone's character. I like the scene where he gets to Chazz Palminteri. I want all your guns. I thought I took this rod away from you. It's my spare. Give it here. Okay, give everything. And the guy just keeps pulling stuff out. It's like disarming Germany. Get out of here. Then you have another girl that comes in who had told his accountant that it was her daughter, that he was her daughter, but of course he's not really her father, and she lied to this accountant so that he could love her. And Stallone's like, okay, so you're the daughter who's not my daughter. Okay, let me talk to this guy. And then he comes out and tells Chazz Palminteri, I want you to watch my daughter over there. But wait a minute, I was watching your daughter over here. Just don't worry about it. I'll tell you later. I've been watching this door the whole time. No, my daughter's over there too, my other daughter. And the guy's like, you got two daughters now? And then the other daughter, Marisa Tomei, the mom comes in, and the daughter's like, well, he knows. Of course, he doesn't know because he thought it was the other guy. See, I know I'm getting confusing, but it's all this misunderstanding. The movie doesn't make it confusing. It's one of those things you have to see. It's much funnier to me seeing it than me explaining it. And then he finds out by her saying that it's the chauffeur named Oscar, which is where the title comes from. And so Sly surprise, and Dar goes, I thought you said you knew. He's like, I love his line. Of course I knew. I just had no idea. Then the maid quits, and he's like, okay, I need to, since there's a misunderstanding, this girl who lied to someone else that it's my daughter, that guy's going to marry her. I got to find someone for my actual daughter. How about the Fiduci brothers? And they're like, no, we're already married. And we got we got a lot of bambinos. Oh yeah, you don't have that many bambinos. Yes, I got Mario, I got Big Luigi, I got Little Luigi, I got Luigi Jr. Oh no, that guy's from the Milkman. Oh, this guy's a funny. And some of the dialogue just made me chuckle. Oh man, that guy, how'd he die? He stepped on his fingers. He died from that? Well, he was hanging off a ledge. I found it really... I think the script was well done by Michael Berry and Jim Mulholland. I thought the delivery worked well. And one of my favorite points is when Stallone's fucking with the accountant who stole his money. And he tells the guys who we know just make suits, but Sly tells them they're contract killers. And earlier they had shown a picture of this guy who died, and he showed the picture for this newspaper because it's one of their suits. The guy was wearing one of their suits. So this accountant who thinks they're contract killers, they're talking to him saying, we gotta do another guy at 11. God, you treat this as a business. It's not just a business, it's an art. Show him the picture. They show him that picture, and of course the guy thinks they're art killers, and they go, we gotta do another one later, but maybe someday we do you. And when we get through with you, nobody gonna recognize you. And then Tim Curry comes in. He studies the English language. He's trying to teach Sly how to talk. And I thought that was pretty funny. And Sly trying to talk and not doing it well. He's like, well, I'm never going to learn to speak good. Sly talking to Marisa Tomei says, well, okay, how about this Dr. Poole guy, Tim Curry? You guys stick with him. This is your third fiance today. It's not even lunch yet. And just like, you have this jewels, which was money that the accountant stole. Then there's a chunk of money that he later admitted that he stole that too. Then you have the maid who quit, aka got fired, and she has a bag of underwear. And they get exchanged all, and there's all sort of misunderstandings. Don Amici, who was in Cocoon, among many other films, he comes in, he's a priest, he's a father. And there's a lot of other funny lines of dialogue, but I would ruin it by trying to mimic it. It's just one of those things where when I'm just saying it out loud, I know at one point Stallone did an interview with Charlie Rose, and he said the reason this didn't work was the timing. That there were moments that stopped for moments that they thought would get laughs. Watching this again, I don't really get what Sly's talking about because I didn't see that. I didn't see that, and I didn't think the movie was a problem. So I don't really get why Sly said that in his interview with Charlie Rose. It's on YouTube. It's when he was, I think Copland was coming out. But I don't really get that. I don't really, I'm sorry, Sly, I don't really get what you're saying. And I did a big reason is just seeing a guy I love having fun. Like when he gets on the phone, he's talking to someone, and at first he's smiling on the phone. Yeah, it's that provolone. Yes, man, who the hell you think it is? Or when he finds out their account stole money, he's had it. And he tests the Chazz Palminteri, give me your gap. And he realizes it's a fucking drumstick. And he's like, then Chazz Palminteri goes, you took my guns. And just takes his little napkin and wipes his fingers off. Or there's another girl, and he says, you owe me this, sister. And it's Slane's sister. And Chazz Palminteri going, I thought she was your daughter. Shut up. And then a new maid comes by. And it's a girl that Sly used to know, and she had a daughter, and that daughter happens to be the daughter who lied about being a daughter, but she really is Sly's daughter. And this is all mimicked by this great scene, which unfortunately there's no quotes for. But Sly and Chazz Palminteri talking down, sitting with each other. And Chazz is trying to understand what's going on throughout this day. And I wish it was written down somewhere. It's not in the quotes on IMDb, but and if I try to play it, I'm sure I would get a copyright claim. But pretty much the gist of it is about how, wait, this account guy, he stole jewels from you, and then he stole money from you, and then the daughter who's not your daughter, and then the money changed into underwear. And they do a better job than I could. And then this whole time the cops are watching, they're thinking something's going down, and the bankers come by, and then the cops come by, and I like when one of the bankers says, I've never been insulted, and Sly goes, oh wait, you're young yet. And then they get in the clear because the cop thinks it's a bag full of jewels or money, but it's really the underwear. And Kerwood Smith and the other cops get embarrassed. And then pretty much after all, at the end of the day, Sly goes, hey, I'm sorry, Papa. I tried being straight for one day, but you bankers, you're scary. And it ends with a wedding, a double wedding of the daughter, and then the daughter he just found out he had. And the movie pretty much ends. It, maybe, not even maybe, I know I did a bad job explaining it, but it's just one of those movies that brings me back to those comedies I grew up with, whether it be the Red Skeltons, the Lauren Hardys, maybe not so much the physical shenanigans, but sort of that quick energy and timing. And I do think it's a very underrated film. I never got the hate for it. I never got the reason why it flopped. I think it should have been at least a decent hit. Doesn't have to be a huge blockbuster, but I thought it was an entertaining movie. I think it's a fun movie. I think the cast pulls it off very well. I think it has a charm to it. I know when I used to work at this video store and there was a coworker, I remember her being a big fan of this. And from time to time would ask, well, not sure if she asked me, but sometimes I would bring this to the store because we could pop in a movie as long as it was G or PG. This is rated PG because there's no nudity or violence or harsh language, so you can watch it. So to me, I'd be happy to do that because one, she's very nice. She was very nice, and two, it was cool to see another person who loved the movie because not many people talk about Oscar. It's one of those Stallone films that is under the radar and no one brings up, and for the most part, when people bring it up, it's just to make fun of it. And I always thought this was an underrated comedy. Very entertaining film, very funny, and a great ode to those 1930s era of filmmaking. And I always thought it had a charm to it. Even when I saw it as a kid, to this day, it was a lot of fun to watch. And again, people who say Sly can't do comedy, I think this film proves otherwise. That's just my opinion. But anyway, that's my thoughts on Oscar. Again, I think it's an underrated comedy. Very fun movie. Thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.